awesome. I'm going to do this real quick, guys, if you don't mind. Does anybody want to know why I have a candle up here? Okay, let me tell you how tonight's going to work. So I'm going to ask questions, and you know what you're going to do? You're going to talk back to me. Sound good? Okay. So does anybody want to know why I have this candle up here? Okay. I'm going to remind you guys, this is how this is going to work. I'm going to ask questions, you guys are going to respond. Is that cool? Does anybody want to know why I have this candle up here? You don't need to know yet. Okay, awesome. So let me tell a little bit about myself. So my name is Dustin Barker. I am a pastor at Life Church Leadership College in Northern Illinois. Who here has met me before at like a summer camp? And I may do this quite a bit because those lights are right here. Who have I met before? Awesome, quite a few hands. Who's got to see me kind of do my thing at summer camp? So I help recruit. Okay, awesome. I've met several of you. So just a quick plug. So if there's anyone that's considering looking into ministry, we have a visit day coming up on March 9th. I would love to have you join us and see if we might be a good fit for you. Sound good? So we'll talk more after. So here's what I wanted to talk to you about tonight. In talking to Pastor Missy and kind of trying to figure out where we wanted to go for direction, she really wanted to talk basically about your relationship with God, right? I'm sure people talk about that all the time. Yes, no, yes, no, yes? Okay, so I'm hoping to approach it from a little bit different perspective tonight. My goal is that at the end of tonight, here's what I want. I want you to feel more comfortable going to God. Because even if we don't say it, I think a lot of people are afraid of God. Even if they shout, man, I love God so good, there's part of you that goes, but you never know what God will do. And he might do something to you and you just don't know. Do you ever feel like that's kind of in the back of your head? Like, you're like, I love God, but you never know. Come on, all of us have been scared of him at some point. There's fear taught to us. Okay, you guys aren't giving me any feedback right now. We'll keep getting there. Okay, so here's what I want to ask you. I'm going to ask you a question. What is a good friend?
Somebody that sticks by your side.
Great, somebody that sticks by your side, loyal. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to picture. Take a second and picture who's your best friend. You don't have to shout at me. I want you to think about your best friend. Think about your best friend. Okay, yeah, someone said Jesus, I get it. I'm talking your best friend in the flesh, who you spend the most time with. Does everybody have that?
Yeah.
Okay, so now think about the qualities that they have. What are some of those qualities? Someone said loyal. Someone said got your back. What are some of those qualities? Why are you friends with them? What was that? They buy you food? It's kind of shallow. Okay, tell me how this list sounds. Listen, tell me how this list sounds. A good friend is there for you.
Yes.
We said that, no matter what. A good friend doesn't judge you. How's that sound? Okay. A good friend doesn't put you down or try to hurt your feelings. A good friend is kind and respectful to you. A good friend is someone you enjoy spending time with. A good friend is loyal. We got that one. A good friend laughs with you. A good friend sticks around when things get tough. A good friend makes you smile. A good friend is there to listen. A good friend comforts you when you cry. And a good friend is trustworthy and willing to tell the truth. Does that sound good? Yeah. So to sum it up, here's what we're going to say tonight. Here's what we're going to say a good friend is. A good friend is someone you can count on and someone who cares about what you care about. Does that sound good? Let me remind you guys something. This is how we're going to do this tonight. I'm going to ask a question, and you guys are going to respond to me. Sound good? Okay. We can be here all night. What? I can always restart. That's the beautiful thing. I got nowhere to go tonight. Okay, so let me ask you a question. Is God your friend? Is God a good friend? You know, most people will religiously just answer it, but do we really believe that? Okay, third question. Are you God's friend? Are you a good friend of His? Maybe we're not so sure about that one. Well, hopefully by the end of tonight we can answer that question. Sound good? Whoop. I brought these up here in case my nose runs a little bit. Is that cool? You guys cool with that? Okay, so my first question was what? Is God actually, it was my second question. Is God a good friend? And you guys would say, okay, do you realize if you ask this to just about anyone, they're all automatically going to say yes. But deep inside, do you know that most people they have fear of God? They're scared of God. They're scared to let him get close to them. They're scared what he might do to them. They're scared what he might ask them to do. Have you guys ever felt like that? Can we just be honest? Can we be honest? Let's be real. Let's not act all churchy in church. Are there ever times you're like, man, I don't know how close I want to get to God because I don't know what he might ask me to do, or I don't know what he might do to me because you don't know. Have we ever been there? I'll be honest, when I was younger, I didn't want anything to do with God because, one, I thought he was boring and he's going to make me do some of the, I don't want to do that stuff. Has anybody ever been there? There's kind of some fear on selling out to God. Okay, at least I got some people being truthful to me. Okay, many people do not want to get close to God because of their wrong view of him. Not because of who he is, because of their wrong view of him. Many people think God is not trustworthy, mean, bossy, angry, and controlling. Have you ever heard any of those things before? God, he's very controlling, he's bossy, he tells you what to do, he's angry. Has anybody ever heard those things or thought those things about God before? Yes? You can say no if you haven't. Okay. So allow me to give you a quick illustration. Let's see, I don't want to burn anything here. Allow me to give you a quick illustration of God's love with this candle. So you realize, especially when you're younger, does anybody ever feel like their picture of God has been kind of like a list of do nots and no's? Has anybody ever felt like that before? When I was a lot younger, I felt like that. It was all, this is what you don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. I mean, what can we do? And again, if you serve God, man, that's going to be really boring. That was my perception. That was my perception in my teens, that you don't want to get close to God unless you want to live a really boring life. And he's just going to control you and tell you whatever to do. Okay, so here's what I'm going to give you guys a quick scenario. Everyone sees this candle. I asked you before if you wanted to know. Do you guys want to know why I have a candle up here? Yeah. Okay, let me explain it to you. So imagine with me the first person that ever saw fire. Okay? What would they do? What was that? They blow it out? That might not be smart. What if they can't get it started back up? Great. I love where you're going with that. So this is, imagine you've never seen fire before. You don't know anything about fire. You see it, and you look at it, and you're like, wow, what is that? That's kind of cool. I wonder if I can touch it. You try to eat it? That probably wouldn't be smart. So again, here's the first person to ever see fire. They'd look at it and they'd go, that's interesting. I wonder if I can touch it. And they'd go in, and what would they do? They'd kind of go like this, and they'd go, ouch! Because what happened? They got burned. Everybody say they got burned. Okay. Here's what I want you to see, and this is where we've misperceived who God is. So God in your life is standing here saying, hey, this is a flame, and this is hot, and if you touch it, hold on, he doesn't even do that. We've perceived that he does that. We've perceived that he's gone, don't touch this. This is my fire. Here's how God actually is with you. You see, God knows this fire will do what to you? Will burn you. So what God does is because he loves you, he tells you that, hey, this fire's hot, don't touch it. Is there any controlling in that? So for example, go back, I'm the first person that ever saw this fire, I touched it, it was really hot. What am I going to tell my friends? I'm going to say don't touch it. Why? Because I don't want them to get hurt, right? It's not because I want you to stay away from fire. No, I'm telling you not to touch it because I love you and I know what this will do to you and you don't know. So you see, with our relationship in God has things that he knows are going to hurt us. And half the time we don't even know. So God is over here saying, hey, don't touch this thing because it's going to hurt you. Don't touch it. and he's trying to warn you before something happens. He's not telling you not to do something because, oh my goodness, you are missing out. He's telling you so that you don't hurt yourself. Okay? Could I have, by chance, could I have one volunteer? And I'm going to be asking for a few volunteers throughout the night. So give me number one. Where are they at? Come on, somebody. Hey, you just come on. First one up here. I just want one. Right here. Come on, buddy. Give him a round of applause. Finally, someone stepped up. Okay. So I'm going to have you stand right here. Okay? So, again, here's what we're going after tonight. We're trying to change our perspective of how God looks and how he treats you, right? Has anyone, again, I'm going back and I'm going to kind of rewind. Has anyone kind of had that perception that God's just a bunch of do-nots, don't touch my stuff, don't do this? We've had that before. But I want you to see a different way. There's also another view of God that says this. You know what? I'm going to teach you that this fire's hot. Are you ready to learn?
Yeah.
I'm going to teach you fire's hot because I want you to learn that it's hot. And this is how you're going to learn. Okay? Are you ready? Here we go. All right, I'm going to teach you. Now, this is going to hurt, but I need you to learn the lesson. Okay. Give him a round of applause. Thank you. I expected a little more fight there. I did that with a young girl about 2 weeks ago, pulled her on stage, and she was like, no. So here's what I want you to see. A lot of people think that God intentionally hurts you to teach you a lesson. And again, just let's be real. Has anyone ever thought that? Has anyone ever thought God will hurt you, punish you, do something to you, let pain come to teach you something? Have you ever thought that? Come on. I know that someone thinks this, otherwise I wouldn't be talking about it. God wouldn't be talking to me about this. So we've had in our mind that there are times that God wants us to learn this thing's hot. So how's he going to teach us? By burning us. Okay? That is not what God does. What did I tell you guys at the beginning? God stands back here and he warns you and says, hey, this thing's hot, and because I love you, don't touch it. Okay? So does he give you a choice? Gives you a choice. So now this is what I need you to see. This is real life. This is how this works. So when God speaks to you, and it's not always the 10 Commandments. I'm talking when God speaks to you. It's not just rules. It's when he speaks to you and when he warns you. Has anybody ever done something and they're like, man, I knew I shouldn't have done that? Has anybody ever done that? Has anybody ever done something and it went terrible and you're like, I shouldn't have done that? You have? You have? Actually, I want to see all the hands. Who's ever done that? First of all, you all have. You're lying if you haven't. We've all had those moments where we did something, we look back and we go, I knew I shouldn't have done that. Now, here's what I want you to answer. How did you know you shouldn't have done that? What was trying to tell you? Do you understand that we haven't learned how to hear God's voice? That's why so many times we can look back and go, I knew that was a bad idea. Who was trying to talk to you? God was. So here's what God is faced with in the earth realm because he gave you free will. And we're going to do another quick illustration of this because I want you to understand free will. Okay, so what does God tell you about the candle? He says don't touch it. Why does he say don't touch it? To keep you from having fun, to keep you from enjoying life, because he's trying to keep something good from you? Because he loves you so much that he's like, hey, this is going to hurt you. You don't know anything. I know it's going to hurt you. So here's where God's at. God's over here, and he says, don't touch the candle. Now, you understand God can't force you to do things. Do you guys understand that, right? God gives you free will. He can't force you to do anything. So God's standing here lovingly with you saying, hey, don't touch this candle. Now, if you decide to touch the candle and get burned, whose fault was it? Whose? Was it the candle touchers or was it God? Do you know how many times we do something and we go, man, I knew I shouldn't have done that, and then we get mad at God and go, God, why'd you let that happen to me? Why are you doing this to me? When he's over here going, hey, I told you not to touch the candle in the first place. That's on you. So do you see how good God is? Do you see that he's not the one forcing you to be burned? He's trying to get your attention before you get burned. But what's also amazing about God is once you get burned, he'll take you back, he'll have mercy on you, he'll say, hey, you know what's okay, let's not do it again. Do you guys see that picture? Okay? Can you trust a God who's trying to warn you because he loves you rather than just telling you to do something just to obey blindly? Can you trust a God like that? Would you say that is a good friend who's trying to warn you because he loves you? Yeah? Okay. Awesome. I love that illustration because you see, and again, I'm using a generic we. Most of us have. We already kind of agreed. You see, we have thought that God was punishing us when we didn't listen. So you tell me this. If I go in and touch that candle, did God punish me? Who said yeah? Does God have to punish me? Remember, God's standing over here saying what? What is God saying over here? Hey, don't touch the candle. Okay? And here I am, and because I don't listen to him, I go in, I go, you know what? Boom, and I get hurt. Did God punish me? No, he warned me that that was already out there. Do you understand that that's how these things work? God is not trying to punish you. He loves you, and he's trying to warn you to keep you from encountering the bad. And he's not the one putting your hand in the bad to do it. Do you understand that? Do you understand how that can help you trust him a little more? Because you're not scared if he's going to hurt you. You're not scared if he's going to punish you. He's just trying to give you the answers so you don't get hurt yourself. Yes? Yeah? Are we on the same page? Yeah? There we go. Okay, awesome. Okay, so we've thought God was punishing us when we didn't listen. And we have thought that God was the one putting our hand in the flame to learn it's hot. We also thought God was mad at us when we didn't listen. Do you understand when you make a mistake, God is not mad at you? Because we always thought that too. I always thought whenever I messed up, God is just upset with me. Has anyone ever felt like, come on, it's all of us. We've all felt that. We make a mistake and God's mad at you. Here's actually the picture of what God's frustrated with. See, if this candle, again, I'm just going to use sin in a generic sense. But if I go and I touch this and I get burned, God's not mad at me. He's mad at the thing that burned me. Does that make sense? God hates sin because he knows what it does to you. He loves you. He doesn't get mad at you. When you get burned, he actually gets mad at the candle because of what the candle did to you. And the candle convinced you to touch it, and he's mad at the candle. Do you see, God, he doesn't get mad at you. He doesn't. He loves you too much. He gets mad at the thing that hurts you. Does that make sense? Yes? No? No, it doesn't? Do you want me to try and explain it again? It makes sense. Who was that? Awesome. You're doing a good job. Okay. Do you guys mind if we read some scripture real quick? Sure? Sure. Go for it. Okay. In Isaiah 1:19-20, this is God speaking. He said, if you are willing and obedient, you will eat the good things of the land. But if you resist and rebel, you will be devoured by the sword. Again, if you are willing and obedient, you'll eat the good things of the land. So how can we relate that to this? You see, God has good things for you, and he's trying to get you to them by being willing and obedient. It's not controlling. Has anybody, who has a phone right now? Who's got their license? Wow, we don't have that many. Okay, those of you that don't have your license, do you guys understand what like Google Maps is? Like, I don't know, do your parents use it? Who has a phone I can see real quick that has Siri? I need an iPhone. Somebody hook me up. Thank you. Give it up for my guy here. Here, give it up for my guy. Okay, I'll get you back. Here's what I want you guys to see. So what did I just read? If you're willing and obedient, you'll eat the good of the land. But if you're disobedient, you will be devoured by the sword. So somebody give me another city. It can be in another state.
Middle Marion, Indiana.
What was it?
Middle Marion, Indiana.
Middle what?
Marion.
Middle Marion?
Yeah. M-U-R-Y.
I'm just going to go Marion, Indiana. Okay? Can you take me to Marion, Indiana?
Getting directions to Marion.
Okay. So check this out. If I don't know how to get to Marion, what should I... Thank you. If I don't know how to get to Marion, Indiana, what should I do? Ask Siri. Now, listen. If I want to get to my right destination, should I listen to what she has to say? So, if I don't ask Siri or I don't pay attention to Siri, would it be Siri's fault if I end up in the wrong place? Okay, do you see in the same way, this is how God works. God isn't mad at you. He's not trying to punish you. He's actually trying to get you to the right place at the right time. But most of us are never asking him. Would you agree? Are there a lot of decisions you make throughout your life you don't even ask him? Do you realize I could set out and try and drive to Marion, Indiana tonight, and I'd probably get lost? And whose fault would it be? It'd be my fault. And I could have asked the whole time. And all I have to do, this is what's amazing, all I have to do is listen, and I'll end up at the right place. It's no different with God. Have there been decisions you feel like you haven't even asked him about? So whose fault is it if you end up in the wrong place? You know how many times, I'm just going to give you guys this because you guys are in high school, you understand. There's boys and girls we like, right? You know I never asked God his opinion on who I should like or date. Do you know why? I didn't really want to hear what he had to say. So let me ask you this. Every time I got my heart broken, was it God's fault? Whose fault was it? It was my fault because I had no connection with him. In the same way, this is what's amazing about God. All I have to do is say, hey, God, show me how to do this. And I just have to follow what he tells me to do. It's that easy. He said right here, he said, if you be willing and obedient. So if I'm willing and obedient to this right here, what's going to happen? I'm going to get to the right place. Do you guys want to go to the right place? So would it be a good idea to ask God for directions? That'd be a good idea? Okay, hey, you want to come get your phone real quick for me, man? Thank you for letting me use that. Give him a round of applause. There you go. I'm not going to throw that thing. Awesome. Okay, I hope that helps you guys see that. You have to understand, I went through years of heartbreak and hurt and bad decisions, and then I'd get mad at God. Why'd you do this to me? Why'd you let me do this? And guess what? He's standing up there going, you know what? You didn't even ask me. How many times do we get mad at God and we didn't even ask him? You can't be mad at him. You didn't even ask him his opinion. But if you would have listened, he would have warned you and said, hey, psst, don't go that way. Not because I want to keep something from you, but that's not the right way. Do you guys want to end up at the right place? How do you do that? Communicate. Okay, so back to what I was saying. Does that make him a good friend? I make a good friend. So I'm going to read this one more time. Isaiah 1:19-20. If you are willing and obedient, you'll eat the good of the land. So basically, here's the translation. My translation is, if you'll listen to God, you'll enjoy the best the earth has to offer. Does that sound like a good deal? It's very simple. Ask God, do what he says. Don't do what he says, bad things might happen. And whose fault was it? Not God's fault. You see, God gets blamed for a lot of things that he never does. Okay? All right, awesome. Next thing, I need 3 volunteers. Can I have three volunteers? You can join me right here. Join me right here. Come on. Okay. Yes. Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to have you stand in the line. How's that sound? I'll get to you in 1 second. So here's what I'm trying to help you guys to see, because I never understood this before. I never really understood free will. You see, I thought God was always in control, and therefore I had a perverted view of him because I thought he did bad things to me, and I thought he just let bad things happen because he just does that. Not understanding that half the time I never even asked him, and it was my fault. Do you understand? So here's what I want you to see. God gives us free will to either listen to him, to ask him, to go the right way, or ignore him, not ask him, and go the wrong way. Which one would be a better idea? The right way. Thank you. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to read a quick scripture, and then I'm going to give you guys the power of choice, okay? Listen to this. Deuteronomy 30:19, this is God speaking to us. He said, "This day I call heaven and earth as witnesses against you, that I set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Now choose life so that you and your children may live." Notice, God doesn't say, you know what? I'm in control of your life, and everything that happens, I'm going to decide. He loves you so much that he gives you a choice, right? Because free will has choice. If you didn't have the ability to choose, you'd just be a robot. Would you agree? Yes? Right. So what I've set before you guys, and I'm going to let you all just kind of point to which one you want. Which one would you like, this one or this one? Now, before you pick, I want you to know, I know which one you should pick, and I hope you pick it. Okay? You can point to which one you'd like first. This one. Are you sure? Okay, which one would you like? This one. And which one would you like? This one? Okay, so who picked this one? Step over here. Step just right to the side. And who picked this one? Okay, step right over here. Okay, what did I say to them? I said what? Did I say I know which one to pick? Did I say that I want them to know which one it is more than they do? Okay, so let's check. Which one did you pick?
This one.
Yeah, what does that say?
Life.
Okay, so she picked life. What does that mean you guys picked?
Death.
You guys picked death. So I got a $5 McDonald's gift card for you right there. Thank you guys for participating. I need three new volunteers that have not been up already. I need 3 new volunteers over here. Come on, 3 volunteers. Whoever hasn't been up here, come on up here real quick. Guys, 3. Come on. Okay, yeah, you can give a round of applause for them. Okay, I'm going to mix these up again. Here's the deal. Listen, you 3, I'm going to give you the same offer. You get to choose what you want. I know which one's the better one, and I want it more than you guys do. Feel free to choose.
Which one's the better one?
This one.
I choose that one.
You want that one?
Left,
Which one would you like?
left,
Are you sure?
yeah.
Okay, which one would you like? That one? Are you sure? I want you to win more than you do. Do you want that one? Are you sure? You guys want to help her out? What should she do? I'm going to say, I want you to win more than you. Ask me. Ask me which one. Would you like to know which one to pick? Pick this one. Do you want this one? Okay, this one's a winner. Guess what? There you go. You can clap for her. I got a $5 McDonald's gift card for each one of you guys. You are welcome. You are welcome. Give it up for these guys. Okay, guys, here's what I'm asking. Are you starting to see the picture? That there is a good God who is in love with you and wants good things for you more than you. He doesn't want to hurt you. He doesn't want to see you go the wrong way. But he sets decisions before you because he loves you. But all he wants you to do is what? Ask, and then what? Ask, and then just listen, obey. When he asked me, he did, was it a hard choice once I told him which one to pick? It's not that hard. So let me give you a real practical illustration. Cute student at school. You're starting to notice them. And you're like, man, I think I like that person. Do you just start all of a sudden running after that person? Why not? Well, I mean, like, do you start pursuing the person? Let me ask you this. Does God care about you more than you care about you? Would it be a good idea to say, hey, God, I'm thinking about this. Should I go after this or no? Would that be a good idea? And then if he tells you no, and you get hurt, whose fault is it? Okay. You know how many times I got mad at God and it was my fault and I didn't ask him or I didn't do what he said? See, I don't want you guys to go through the same thing. It's not fun. There is a real God who loves you and who will give you the answer if you will take the time to, one, ask him and just be obedient. Are you guys still here with me? Are you guys still there? Okay. We're almost done. So here's what I want you to see about those students that picked the gift cards. Did I force them to choose anything? Whose choice was it? It was their choice. Who wanted them to win more than them? I did. Okay? I did. Okay? Do you realize God wants to be your friend? God wants to help you. He wants you to have good things, and He wants to be your best friend, but He won't force Himself on you. He won't force you to make the right decisions. See, here's where I'm going to challenge you, students. Start asking Him for help to make the right decisions more. Who would like to go through their life and it just be decently, I'm not saying necessarily easy, but with as few problems as possible? Who is that? Or who wants a lot of problems? Raise your hand, because you're a liar if you raise your hand. If you want to go through life with fewer problems, what would be a good idea? Maybe ask God, the person who knows everything, to give you the answers. Would that be a good one? Okay. So start asking God to help you to make the right decision. And when He tells you something, listen to Him. When God tells you something, listen to Him. Ask Him, talk to Him. He wants to be your friend, and He wants to help you. But guess what? He won't help you if you don't ask. He won't help you if you don't ask. So here's what we're going to wrap up with. I asked you guys the question, is God a good friend? Did I ask you guys that question? Okay. And what did we come to what was our answer? See, again, there are people that think God does what with the candle? He'll burn you. He'll put your hand in there. He's the one that gets mad at you if you do it. God, that's not true. He's good and He loves you. But here's a question I want to ask you. Are you a good friend to God? It's a good question, right? Is it possible for me to think I'm your friend and you don't think I'm your friend? Okay? Is it possible to try and be friends with someone and they don't want to be friends back? Is it possible for one end to be a good friend and the other person to be a bad friend? Just because God is your friend doesn't mean you're His friend. Do you guys agree? So I'm going to ask you, are you a good friend to God? So this is kind of where we're moving into the end here, and I'm going to challenge you. God's good, and He loves you, and He'll do amazing things for you. He'll take care of you. He'll help you. He'll be there for you. But here's what I'm going to ask you. Are you there for Him? Are you a good friend to Him? So let me ask you some questions. Are you ashamed of Him? There were times in my life I'd go to school and I could care less if I talked about Him. If people asked me about Him, So let me ask you, are you ashamed of Him? Think of your best friend. If I were to walk up to you and I say, hey, tell me about, someone yell out their best friend's name. Sean? I just need, okay, someone over here, just one, you. Right there, you. What's your best friend's name? You, right here in the front row. New York. That's a weird name. Okay, so he goes up to, I don't know. Somebody, you, give me your friend's name. Josh? Okay. Are you ashamed to say that Josh is your friend? If you go to school, are you ashamed to talk about Josh? Why not? He's your best friend. How many times do we feel too much pressure to even say that we are friends with Jesus? Ooh, I don't want to say that name. But you're not embarrassed to talk about Josh, right? But why are we half the time ashamed to talk about Jesus? So, do you take time to listen to Him and just ask how He is? Or do you only talk to Him when you have an issue or a need? Can God count on you? Meaning when He asks you to do something, can He trust you to get it done? Do you care about what He cares about? Okay? Are you guys answering these questions internally? Do you care about what God cares about? Do you know what God cares about? People. Well, yes, you, but the people around you. People. He's after people. God could care less about anything else. He loves people. And His way to reach people is through you. Okay? So here's another question. Are you a good friend to God? Can He trust you to do something when He asks? Really think about that. If God asked you to do something at school on Monday, would you do it? Depends on what? Okay, hold on. So, because we're just processing together right now. We've already acknowledged God's good. He's not going to hurt you, right? Not going to do anything bad to you. So if God comes to you and asks you to do something, as a good friend, would I do it? That's what I'm processing. So when we say depends, that means, hold on, God, I got to see if I want to do that first, right? So a good friend is going to care about things God cares about. So when He asks me to do something, that means I say, yes, sir. So let me ask you this. Would you say, I love Jesus? Who would say that? Raise your hand if you'd say, I love Jesus. Will you do whatever he says? The same people. Would you do whatever he says? The same people that raise their hands. If he asked anything right now, would you do it? Come on, there has to be some no's. We're not perfect. Come on, guys. Listen to what Jesus said in John 15:14. Jesus said, if you're my friends, who thinks they're a friend of Jesus? Okay, he says this is what a friend is. He says, if you are my friends, you will do what I command. Jesus didn't say, you're my friend if you'll talk about me. Jesus said, you're my friend if you'll do what I ask. So how do you prove you're Jesus' friend? You do something, when he asks you to do it, you do it. You can say you're Jesus' friend all day, but that don't mean anything if he asks you to do something, you don't do it, because Jesus said you actually aren't his friend. Okay, but you have other people that go, but I love Jesus. Jesus is my friend. Jesus also said in John 14:21, if you love me, you'll keep my commands. So Jesus himself said, if you're my friend, you're going to do what I ask. And he said, and if you love me, you're going to keep my commands. That means if you really love him, and you're really his friend, and you'll really come in here and shout, yay, Jesus, amen, that means when he comes to you and asks you to do something, you'll say, okay, I'll do it. That's a good friend. Do you know why God desires obedience from you? Number one, we already talked about this. He wants good things in your life. Would you agree? Would you agree? So God wants you to be obedient because he wants good things in your life. Would you agree? Number two, why God desires obedience from you. Number two, God is trying to get things to others around you. Who here, okay, do we have any homeschooled? Any homeschoolers? Just one? Do we only have one homeschooler? That's awesome. I thought we'd have more. Okay, we got two homeschoolers. Okay, here's what's amazing. I want you to listen to this and let this phrase burn inside of you. Do you realize most schools are kicking God out these days? For those of us that love God and want relationship with him, and it's not just religion, I'll talk about on Sundays, I want to know him. Do you realize that they're kicking him out of schools? Now, God's a gentleman, so what does he do? When someone kicks him out, what does he do? He leaves. So is God really in the schools anymore? Why? People have asked him to leave. Here's the issue. There's schools full of kids who are depressed and hurt and suicidal and lonely and need healing and all these things, and the one person that can help them isn't even there. So what does God need? God is trying to infiltrate your schools, but he can't do it without someone letting him in. That's where you come into play. Do you understand? You see, most people are telling God to get out. Now, see, if you're really, okay, I asked you, are you a good friend? Are you a good friend to God? I asked you that, right? Would you say you're a good friend? I don't know if I have been. I haven't been super obedient guy. Honesty, I love it. She's like, I don't know about that. Guys, come on, it's okay. We can enjoy our night tonight. You guys are really tense. Everyone take a big, deep breath for me and just relax, guys, okay? We're just having fun here. Okay. So I'm going to share something that you need to hear. You see, God needs you. Listen. We're wrapping up here. God needs you to be a good friend and do things when he asks. Because if you don't, others are going to miss out on experiencing God. You already acknowledged with me, right, that most people are kicking God out of schools. So that means he needs you. He needs you who has him on the inside to bring him into the school, into people's lives. So that means when he comes to you and says things like, will you pray for that person? Well, again, are you a good friend? So when he says, will you pray for that person? What do? You do it. When he tells you to buy someone's lunch, you do it. When he tells you to sit with a student that sits alone at lunch, you do it. When he tells you to give a gift to the student that's been bullying you, you do it. You do it. If you want to sit here and say, you know what, I love Jesus. I love me some Jesus. Well, if you love Jesus, ask him what's on his heart and start doing it. So here's where my challenge is going to be. How many classes do you guys typically have a day? Somebody just give me a rough. 7. Wow. 2? Awesome. Here's my challenge for you guys. Who here has a locker? Almost everyone has a locker. Okay, for the most part, you have lockers. I'm going to start challenging you because sometimes we make prayer so much of this religious thing that we got to do and we got to make a big deal out of it. I'm going to ask you to start, when you start going to your locker, just simply ask and say, God, is there anything I can do for someone in the school today? And if you're a good friend, what's going to happen? He's going to tell you something, and then what's going to happen? You're going to do it. I'll tell you the number one answer if you want to see change in your life. It's very easy. Every time someone needed a miracle in the Bible, Jesus told them something to do. And you know what happened when they did it? The miracle came. You see, Jesus can't force himself on people. He needs people to say, you know what? I make a choice to be obedient. God's looking for a way to get into your schools, and you guys are the way. So here's what we're going to do. Now, are we bringing the worship team up, Missy? Or?